a better job of digesting these tariff announcements. So my next guest, he does a great job at digesting everything. Please welcome to the show, Mr. David Stryzewski. David, thanks for coming on. Look at that, or coming to us from the New York Stock Exchange. I love that shot like I did the last time you were there. You're getting to be a pretty important guy doing this stuff like that now, so I don't know. Maybe, we won't be able to do our show anymore. You're so important.
Hey, Scott, I'm here to be able to do your show. And so, we are live from the New York Stock Exchange. It's absolutely a privilege to be here. There's all sorts of commotion and crazy stuff that's going on. And, it's a lot of fun.
All right. Talk to me about what you think's been going on with these tariffs. Tariffs in general, overall, the economy. Kind of wrap the week up for us about what's been happening there. But we definitely had some movement overnight with the 35% on Canada.
This is just a big conversation. Who knows what it ultimately ends up at? We know that nothing's going into place until August 1st. And so part of what President Trump does is he's a New Yorker, okay? He's a guy who negotiates. What you do is you give a higher number, you try to get them to move off of their number. I think that the point here is that the world needs to come to the table as it relates to the tariff conversation. I think that they are going to come to the table. This is just kind of pushing and prodding the thing a little bit forward. I don't like making an enemy of our closest neighbor here. At least I live in Seattle, so and I'm in New York, it's right next to Canada. But the point is that these tariffs are ultimately a game plan to reshore, friendshore, and create new trading partner relationships, because the world doesn't have the same peace that it had previously, and now there's new contentions for the BRICS nations, different dollars out there, and I think it's just kind of a financial World War III play because there's really more that's going on underneath the surface.
So I kind of look at the tariffs like I look at Doge, right? I mean, I did not know what USAID did until we found out, until Doge got in there, right? And I think it really brought, the man behind the curtain. And I think that when America really finds out that, Japan can sell cars in the U.S., but we can't sell cars in Japan. I mean, that's like Doge finding something at USAID. Right. We're starting to slowly but surely. And I think more America really needs to realize that, some of these things need to happen because it hasn't been fair for 30, 40 years. And this is one way of making that come to fruition and make things fair again, because we don't need to be wasting money with NGOs through USAID, and we don't need to be not being able to sell our products in some of these other countries where they can come here and sell their products. It's just like we let China buy land next to our military bases, but we can't do that in their country. We just need to get to some sort of reciprocal arrangement with everybody when it comes to trade, policy, land purchases, owning businesses, whatever it may be. It's been way out of whack for too long.
Yeah, and Scott, to your point, we're just kind of redefining what's in bounds, what's out of bounds. What should we be doing? What are we not really going to be wanting to do? And so, when we begin to get these trade partners and different relationships, and we begin to have these conversations even more so, next week there's a lot of crypto legislation that's going to even be coming out and big conversations out there. The United States, thankfully, is even leading in some of this stuff where we were just sitting on it previously. So I'm optimistic right now about where we are. I'm optimistic about what the future looks like. Are there some potentials for geopolitical challenges? Yeah, no question. And I think that that's why we need to also take, all this positive sentiment with a grain of salt, because, hey, I love making money, but, and I'm also psyched about the big, beautiful bill, which I call Tax Cuts and Jobs Act 2.0. And I'm just thankful that that's actually going to be able to impact families through tax diversification, and that they get an extension on that, because that's going to make a significant difference for a lot of people.
Okay, so more of the psychological aspect that I'm coming from too. Like, I like what you just had to say there. So we have a lot of people will probably they probably call you up and go, why do we even have to do these tariffs? He's hurting their economy. I have small businesses do, all the bad things that people say. The prices that are going to be sent down to the consumer. Look at what's going to happen with inflation. But I have to take a step back, David. I have to say to people, okay, so what you're just basically telling me is you would rather have the status quo, which is us getting ripped off to the nines. We are really getting ripped off on a lot of these things. A great example is, Japanese cars into the U.S. versus we can't sell there. Just so we can keep things the status quo, we don't have any tumult or any pain. If there's anything worth doing, it's going to be, it's going to cost some money. It's going to be a little bit painful in the beginning. I can't stand the status quo. I can't stand China ripping off our intellectual property rights to $500 billion to $1 trillion. trillion a year. It has to stop, and it has to stop someday. But no other president has been able to do it, number one. And number two, I contend that a lot of the changes he's making today, he'll be out of office before we really start to see the positives bite.
Yeah, actually, that's a really great point. These are trends that are starting, and then they've got a lot of tailwinds behind them. If we even think about the manufacturing space right now in the United States, this is a really big deal. If we are getting more through the tariffs, we're getting more people to invest right now in the United States and ultimately put more capital in. Those are trends that you're going to see this business here 50 years, 100 years from now. But maybe we're going to start exporting Japanese cars from the United States, given that $1 billion investment there of Toyota. So if they won't let us do it to Japan, then I guess we'll be exporting them all over the world here from the U.S.
Right. Well, that's the reshoring, friendshoring, whatever you want to call it. But that's the ultimate goal of a lot of these things, is to bring some stuff back home. And it's not always, it doesn't always have to be about trade surplus or deficit, but it does have everything to do about being fair. He just wants to be fair. So when I hear Trump say, maybe even 35%, I'll put that, say 35% tariffs up to 150% tariffs, to me, he's just kind of being strong-arming a little bit. Those are, he's going to be negotiating from those levels. They're so high that he's going to come down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a negotiator, and that really is the point. I mean, when you saw the first Tax Cuts and Jobs Act go through, it ended up with 21% on the corporate tax, down from 35. That's a big deal. But he was saying something like 14 initially. He was just trying to get them off the number to know that there's a better answer out there, and people begin to start thinking. That's just the art of the deal that he, tends to want to follow. So, the tariff conversation is ultimately saying, hey, if you want to be working with the United States, if you want to be a part of what we're building, right now, this is the time to get on the same page. We're not going to be putting buttons on shirts here in the United States. We're friendshoring, reshoring, and we're bringing critical infrastructure back here to the United States at the exact same time. We're just going to be maybe growing some food that we want to, sell to our neighbors here more so than export in the event that that tariff conversation becomes too high. But watch, Scott, that the U.S. dollar is down 11% already on the year to date. I'm concerned about that because I think it's by design, because if we're going to start exporting more and more, you need a weaker dollar. So that's why gold, silver, metal miners, important ideas for people to be paying attention to today. All
right, we'll definitely take your advice. Thank you very much, David. David Stryzewski coming to us from the New York Stock Exchange in New York.